Nintendo removes gender from Mii Avatar creation ahead of Switch 2 launch as industry faces growing pushback from gamers. That's me, I'm a gamer. Alright, let's see what this is actually about. Just before Nintendo launched its highly anticipated Switch 2 console, one of its quiet but significant changes has sparked renewed debate among players. The removal of gender from Mii Avatar creation. Oh no. Oh no, here we go again. Several outlets confirmed this week that the Switch 2 will introduce a modified Mii setup that removes the traditional male and female gender selection options in favor of two styles. These styles which oddly resemble a man and a woman. That's strange. Which are not labeled with gendered language, allow for visual customization without defining characters as male or female. Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Japan. So progressive. So glad that 10 years after this horrible Western ideology has swept the world that Nintendo is finally hopping on board as well. Just when I thought this stuff was starting to die down in the West, Nintendo's like, no, we're jumping on this. This is great culture. The classic Mii Avatar designs from the Wii and original Switch remain unchanged in appearance. What's changed is how Nintendo wants players to identify them. Ah, there it is. Oh no. No, the dreaded male and female. Oh no. Oh man. Several outlets confirmed this week that Switch 2 will introduce a modified Mii setup that removes the traditional male and female gender selections options in favor of the two styles. These styles, which are not labeled with gendered language, allow for visual customization without defining characters as male or female. The classic Mii Avatar designs from Wii and original Switch remain unchanged in appearance. What's changed is how Nintendo wants players to identify them. There's even a disclaimer at the bottom of the screen warning players that the style you select for your Mii might be reflected as a specific gender in some software. No way! So if you pick the Mii that is clearly a woman, the game is gonna gender you as a woman. Crazy, I know. This isn't the first time Nintendo has moved in this direction. It's so funny, because again, they are so late to this trend. Like, don't get it twisted. I hate this. I hate this trend. Just go back to male and female. That's what everyone wants. You don't have to cater to like 0.002% of the population. Like, everyone else hates this stuff. Everyone else wants the male and female icon back. Let's just go back to normalcy, please. And I feel like the West was finally starting to shift a little bit that way. But then Japan is like a decade behind in culture from the West. So now they're just starting to shift away from using male and female. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I want to read this article. So this isn't the first time Nintendo has moved in this direction. In 2022, Splatoon 3 replaced gender options with a similar style system. Style. For its customizable Inklings, removing restrictions on clothing and hairstyles. Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and even 2012's New Leaf also made strides towards gender-neutral expression. But the timing of this latest shift, coming just months after a major industry moment, has caught the attention of many. Ooh, what's this? Gamers already voted, and the results were clear. Back in January, CL Games CEO Marek Tymiński ran a now viral poll asking players how they felt about gender selection and character creation. Well, yeah, everyone hates it. The result, an overwhelming 88%. Yeah, everyone hates this shit. Just let us pick male and female. So yeah, 88% of people agree with me. Of 49,000 respondents said they preferred the traditional male and female options. Exactly. This is what, like, no shit. Why is this isn't controversial? Honestly, I'm amazed it's only 88%. That it's not like 98%. But I guess this was done on X, formerly known as Twitter, which, you know, we all know about how online spaces work. It's not the real world. A lot of people don't even use Twitter. And it's not a stretch to say that there's a vast unproportional amount of these, we'll call them mentally ill types, that exist on Twitter that you would never encounter in real life. So, of course, it's going to be skewed even more. So if you did this in real life, like you went to boomers' houses and asked them this shit, first of all, they'd say, what the hell are you talking about? And second of all, they'd say, obviously male and female. Like, what are you even talking about? So yeah, even this is heavily skewed. Oops, don't want to open that. I don't even have an X account. Following the decisive feedback, Kaminsky pledged not only to honor that preference in future games, but to retroactively patch Lords of the Fallen to include male and female gender options. Based, but you should have kept him there from the beginning. The reason he didn't is because he's a coward and he didn't know which way the wind was blowing. So he went body type A and B and then retroactively changed it. Good that he changed it, but let's not give him too much credit. Because they started with body type AB. Because they didn't know what their audience was going to be like. He did exactly that and was rewarded with a sales explosion. Well, that's good. Good for him. Honestly, I'm proud of him. More people need to do that. Put their foot down and say, no, this is reality. There's men and women. In video games, there's also men and women. With over 49,000 votes, 88% of you said you prefer male-female choices. As player per studio, we'll update it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's cool of them. The announcement was hailed by fans as a rare case of studios listening to their audience. Great. Again, good for them. They should have started out with male and female, not started out with type A and type B, but, credit where credit's due. A tale of two studios. While Nintendo's decision may be an extension of its recent design trends, it also reflects a broader pattern in the gaming industry. Some developers are doubling down on gender politics while others are returning to tradition. Yeah, this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier. I feel like more are starting to return to tradition, men and women. In the West, at least. It feels like that shift is happening, and maybe that's just since the 2024 election, but I feel like that shift was happening even before that. Ever since 2020, I feel like people started to realize how bad things were really getting in the West. But it's good to see some returning to tradition, even though this also means that the opposite is going to happen, right? People are going to vulcanize their positions, and they're going to double down on the gender politics on the other side of the aisle. So it's not going to end anytime soon. CL Games' move was especially notable because it walked back a live product's character system, something virtually unheard of. Again, good for them that they changed it. My argument is that they should have never had it type A and type B from the beginning. But again, credit where credit's due. I'm happy that they changed it. Meanwhile, studios like BioWare, oh no, here we go, have faced growing criticism over similar identity-driven changes. Dragon Age: The Veilguard, for example, drew backlash for its focus on progressive customization features. Oh yeah, you couldn't make your boobs bigger than like an A cup. The female body was literally just a man's body but skinnier. Not to mention you could get top surgery scars. I think that's the first time any game ever did that. Okay, the music's getting way too loud, Skyrim. I'm gonna need you to chill for a second. But yeah, I mean, this is like a comically extreme example of woke leftist ideology and propaganda. Not subtle in any way, being shoved into a game with Dragon Age: The Veilguard. True backlash for its customization features. Mixed voice types. Yeah, that was another thing. You could make like a man. You could make a man and give him a woman's voice. And yeah, top surgery scars. There it is. Oh my god, disgusting. Absolutely vile. Amid a backdrop of disappointing sales and high refund rates. Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why that could be. Maybe it's because their dark fantasy Dragon Age game wasn't dark fantasy. It was Reddit, Marvel writing slop with leftist identity politics shoved into it. Maybe that's why it didn't do well. Maybe that has something to do with it. Again, I love Dragon Age Origins, so that's like especially bitter for me to see what they did with Veilguard. The bigger picture. Nintendo's subtle removal of gender labels for Mii's may not stir as much immediate outrage as some AAA RPGs, but it does raise questions about where the industry is headed. Yeah, this is the interesting thing to me is I want to see where the culture is headed in the East. If they're going to follow what the West was a decade ago with all this gender bullshit. I mean, I'm guessing it's all for show, let's be honest. They're trying to appeal to the widest audience possible. So they want to appeal to the 0.002% that are gender confused and maybe got surgery to permanently scar their body and want to see themselves represented in video games. No, you don't have to actually appeal to them. You can actually just appeal to, normal people. And you're going to see your sales explode for that. It's not that complicated. It may ultimately come down to this. Are developers building games for themselves or for the players? As the Switch 2 nears release, Nintendo's approach seems baked into its identity. But CI Games has showed there's another path. one where player input actually shapes the final product. And if Marek Tyminski, his poll is any indication, again, that was 88% said they preferred male and female pronouns. That was on Twitter or X, so of course you have to take that with a massive grain of salt, because if you polled people who exist, in real life and don't exist in Twitter, it's probably going to be closer to like 90-something%, if I had to guess. There are millions of players who just want character creation to be simple again. Yeah, the problem is not even that they want it to be simple or traditional. The problem is more so, how do I say this? The problem is that once you open up a game and you're immediately selecting between a body type A and body type B, that is, just hear me out, that is a leftist construct. That is not real. This is the whole push to say that, oh, well, gender isn't real. It's just a social construct, man. It's like, no, you're born with either XX or XY chromosome. That's how it is. That's, of course, there's an exception where you can have like a mutant weird, like these things are real, where you can have, I think it's XXY. Is that how it is? That is real. It's very rare, extremely rare. But the problem is people see this, body type A and type B, and they just immediately go, oh no, it's this shit again. More gender, politics, bullshit in my video games. It's just an immediate turnoff. So that's what it really is. At least that's what I think it is. So, what do you think of Nintendo removing gender from Mii avatars? I hate it. I think it's horrible. I think it shows that the East is going to start trying to cater to this Western leftist ideology where gender is just a construct, at least in an outward-facing way. I think the East might be doing that, which is, again, hilarious because it's like a decade behind the times in the West, because now people in the West, they hate this, Everyone has found out that they actually hate this. So let's see what they have to say about this. How many tariff-loving socialist hypocrites bought their Switch 2 today? Yep, I remember that. They were all... Yep, I'm not going to get into that too much because that's more political, but gender is not a style. Yep, I love that style. And I'm fed up with the expectation that every single person needs to change their language in order to not offend the mentally ill. Holy based. Society should reflect the majority and not the minority. They choose not to conform to society, so society doesn't need to conform to them. The wrong people are excluded. Holy based. Damn, I mean, this dude's based. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of with this guy, if I gotta be honest. But, yeah, I'm curious what you guys have to think about this. Again, this is kind of, you could look at this as a minor thing at the end of the day, but I think it could be a sign of a shift happening in the East, and I hope to God I'm wrong. But it could be. So, yeah, let me know what you think about this. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I'm a new channel, so subscriptions do actually go a really long way. And thanks for watching. Peace.